Hello, hello. This is Lisa Christensen here. I'm an artist. My blog is called maydreamrose.com, but I also am a contributing artist to the Fine Art Cafe Academy, and I'm really loving all the like all the comments from the community and all the wonderful support from the community. It's just a wonderful community. Anyways. I wanted to share with you my watercolor palette. I've had a couple people ask me. I recently had a newsletter that went out with my tips and trips on plein air painting because I like to paint outside as much as I can. And my artist mentor, Angela Fair, specifically told me to get better at painting in nature, you have to paint outside. And so that's what I've been doing, and it's been really fun. So this is like just my regular plein air palette. It has all the colors that I need, and then when I'm in the studio painting, I can tweak those colors, which I'll get to in a little bit with these wonderful books. Anyways, here is my foldable palette. I have a couple foldable palettes that I take with me. This is not my only one, and I keep empty ones like spare because sometimes the seasons change and I will want to have more browns and greens and yellows instead of bright colors like purples and oranges that I have right now. I would definitely call this a summer palette, but this is also my palette where I paint. I can get almost any colors I want out of this palette. I mean, I'll go through the colors in just a little bit, but I like to have spare palettes, and I usually only put paint on one side. If I really, really need a color, I have some white gouache right here. I'll reserve this, and then I have all the space to mix colors with. So anyways, that's my way of doing things. I don't think there's really a right or wrong way, but you can get these palettes. They're just called foldable palettes. And they're, I get them at Dick Blick, but any art supply store usually has them. I haven't seen them at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, which is a bummer because I don't know why. But I also like this because it has a spot for your brushes. So if I do want to just grab and go, I can put 2 or 3 brushes in here, and then I'll just fold them like this, and then I take them with me wherever I'm going. So that's kind of that, and I feel like this is a sufficient enough space to mix my greens or you can see my browns and my reds. So anyways, it's just really fun. So if I were to make my own palette, I would start off with my studio palette colors, and I have them in like a cosmetic bag. And so I would start with a split palette. And so Cerulean, Ultramarine Blue would be my 2 blues that I would use. Cad Red is maybe one of them. I also use Alizerian Crimson for my cool and warm. This would be my warm red and my cool red. I do love to use iridescent, so I would probably put that in my palette if I was curating it. Depending on the season, green gold is a good one. And I actually don't have green gold in my regular palette. I have sap green, but again, depending on the season, here's my sap green that I would totally put into my palette if I was doing a summer-ish palette. My yellows I like to use. Here's a cobalt violet. If I had room, I would definitely put that in because I don't like to mix my purples, and I'll mix my purples once. I'll mix it to either blue or red, or I'll mix it to one of the sides, either red or blue. But there's my yellow ochre. I actually have 2 different brands of yellow ochre because Core is completely different than Daniel Smith, and so depending on if I want to be loose or fluid, loose and fluid, I would use Core. If I want to just paint what I see, I'll use the Daniel Smith. Let's see. And there's also cobalt blue. So if I'm doing a lot of sky and water scenes, I'll put cobalt blue, cerulean, and ultramarine together in a palette. Oh, let's see. There's phthalo turquoise that, again, if I'm doing a water scene, if I'm going to do a lot of water, I'll put phthalo turquoise in the mix of it. And then, so that's really my split primary palette, and that's more, that would be more than enough colors. The other colors that I love that I usually put in is brown madder or an Indian red. And then I do like to use a Quin Sienna, and I also like to use a Quin Gold if I have it, which I don't. It's in my convenient colors. But so that is a lot of different colors. Sorry, I can move them down. But so to refresh, let me take away the extra paints that I would not be necessarily using. All right, so the split palette will consist of and I'm not really brand specific. I've never been with things like this, but it is kind of nice if you're looking to get just a palette of colors. Daniel Smith offers like a split primary palette, and is pretty much what I'm showing you, but in Daniel Smith watercolors, and they're in little tiny tubes, like the 5-inch, like the 5 milliliter tubes. And they use phthalo blue as their cool blue. I don't use phthalo blue very much, so that's my preference. But you could just get like a split palette. Split primary palette is really what it's called. But for me, I like Alizerian Crimson, Cad Red. Another one that you could use instead of Cad Red would be a almost like a Phthalo orange, almost on an orange side. Cad Red is pretty orangey, whereas Alizerian Crimson is more cool, more on the pink side. Okay, so those are the reds and the blues, and then my yellow ochre, and Quin Sienna, but that's not really what I would choose. Um, Yellow ochre and Quin Gold, or an Indian yellow would be a good one. I'm looking to see where my Quin Gold is. Nickel Azo is also a good choice too. You just want like a very warm, this is very neutral, very earthy, and then these are more bright, cool. Lemon yellow is also a very good choice, and usually I have lemon yellow, but I just ran out, so that's why lemon yellow was not in my palette of choice. Anyway, so that would be my split palette right there. I'll switch out, and I don't mind using Daniel Smith art watercolors at all. In fact, I think it's really worthwhile. Yeah, and so I usually like to have 3 yellows in my palette, and this palette I actually have Indian yellow and yellow ochre, and then an orange, and then I have a burnt sienna. This is an Indian yellow, or sorry, an Indian red, or a brown madder red. They're just an earthy red. And then I have my, I believe that is a rose madder maybe. And then my alizarin crimson, which then I also pair that with my iridescent hibiscus color, and then my violet iridescent color from Daniel Smith. This is a dioxide, or the carbazole violet, and so that's kind of fun. Anyways, oh, and I do have indigo in here and some brown neutral tints that helps with shadow. Well, actually, I use those more for animals than for nature, to landscapes. So that is that. That would get you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's made for split primary palette right here. So if you have any questions, I'm totally willing to answer them, but that is how that works. And then I just keep them in a bag. I follow Alexis Levine, and so she has a whole bunch of, she's a national she's a National Watercolor Society artist, which means that she has won lots of good awards to get her into that standing. So she knows her watercolors very well. If you are new to watercolor, I have a couple books that I love that really help me have learned how to curate my palette, because for me, I have always loved color, but I have not always understood how color works. And so I have a couple books that I actually really love that I wanted to share with you. These two are my newest books that I've just been loving. This is A Field Guide to Watercolor, a watercolor workbook by Lisa Solomon. She's awesome. She has a master's degree in like art, which is really cool. Anyway, she's really down to earth, and she has a couple of good classes on Creative Bug. And then Color Harmony for Artists. This is just a fun way. Like if you see, I like this book. The premise of this book is when you see a photo or you have a reference photo that you love and you want to copy those colors, this is her example. So if she saw a lightning storm, so she wanted to swatch out the different colors that she saw and then painted either from the photo or from her memory. And so that's what she got. And I just love I guess the bridge between the two. But anyway, her palette is very simple, and it's again that purple, carbonized or dioxazine purple. They're fairly close. You're not going to see much difference. Venetian red is also kind of another name for that brown madder or that Indian red that is used. This would be like a nickel azo yellow. And so anyways, she just I just really enjoy learning about different artists' palettes. The other book that I really, really enjoy is right here. Maybe. Oh, it's called Confident Color. It is this book, and it is my all-time favorite book. In fact, I have wrote notes. I'm currently working through this. I've read it once, and I absolutely love just reading through it. And now I'm on she recommends getting a sketchbook and just swatching out a bunch of different colors. And so that's what I've been doing. I really love yellow ochre with a violet color. It makes some really pretty browns. Anyways, this book is fantastic. If you don't know, there's a lot of different color terminology. I love the high key and low key, and your paintings can really set your style off by the color. So if you work more in the high key triad or the high key colors, your paintings will show that. Or if you work in a low key, meaning darker colors, or so I don't know where her low key is, but I mean, there's just so many different fun ways to make your paintings pop. So I'm enjoying this book as well. So anyways, if you're new to color theory and you like to just play with color, I recommend getting Confident Color and Color Harmony for Artists by Anna Victoria Calderon. And of course, I love Lisa Solomon's book. The reason why is because she does these color meditations. And I have found these color meditations to be very inspiring, and they are exactly what they sound. They're meditations for artists that love to play with color. And every time I do sit down and actually spend time on a color meditation, I always feel grounded and centered and ready to really either start my day or to chill out or to cool off. It's just my center. It's almost like how people view yoga. It's just a great way to meditate and to put your feelings out there. Anyways, here's a wash overlap. That one is fun. It takes a little bit of time, and so I don't do that often, but one of my favorites are these arches, and they're just fun. They're just fun to play with and see how the color mingles. I also like with arches comes rainbows, and so and she'll just guide you through it, and then you just paint. I've done this one a lot too. Anyways, definitely recommend that book. But those are the 3 color books that I like. Jean Haynes also does a really good. She has a good book series on color and color, like just how to paint. So, anyways, I hope you give this a try. I hope you make your own palette, because once you start curating your own palette, it opens up a whole new world, and your style really just comes out, and it just makes my heart happy. So anyways, happy creating. Learn all the color theory you can. I promise it was worth every minute you spend on it. And I will talk to you soon.